Okay, hi everyone who has already joined. Welcome to our live webinar. I am your host, Stan. We are going to warm up for 1 2 minutes, give this time to others to join. Then we're going to kick off, talk about the custom playbooks, how you can use them, how you can build them, how you can test custom playbooks. Why would you need that in your cold outreach? Yeah, the guys are joining. Hi, Tom, Alexei. Hi, DL. Welcome, welcome. My name is Stan. So here at Reply, I am Customer Success Manager. Probably some of you we've met before, maybe work together at the moment. If you're seeing me for the first time, nice to meet you. Welcome. Yeah, I'm a playbooks lover. Why not? Okay, more people join. This is great. Yeah, and what I do here at Reply, besides these big nights as today, gala night, work closely with our clients to make sure you all get enough value from Jason AI. Try to introduce all the new features, how to use them, what are the best practices in the cold outreach, and something I often like to mention, what are the worst practices in the cold outreach. One of the worst practices we can talk about now is never use custom playbooks, because there's cases when you do want to sound unique. Maybe you have some storage of your best working messages, emails, something that has been working for you historically. We can use that in custom playbook and much more. Okay, 1 more minute, I think, and then I'm gonna show you a couple of slides, again, just to set the stage, to show the agenda. But the main part of today's call with you, we're gonna spend in my own Reply account. I have created a couple of custom playbooks. I have created test sequences, and I'm gonna be demoing you how you can check custom playbooks before you launch them. What like ideas you can use, like, let me put it this way, what outreach ideas you can wrap up in custom playbooks and then use them and then get leads, get clients, all that. Okay, yeah. So we can probably start. Going to share the presentations with you at first. Can somebody write in the chat if you can see my first slide well, so I know everything works? Thank you, can see. So yeah, custom playbooks for Jason AI SDR. What we are going to cover today. Yeah, thanks, Patrick. Thank you, guys. We're gonna, again, recap what are playbooks, just as a entity, as the feature here at Jason. Just to recap how it all works, what does it mean. Then we're gonna talk a little bit about our default playbooks, which stored in our playbooks library, which all of you have in your Jason AI accounts. When use which playbook, how it all thought process can be. Turn a library playbook into a custom one. Also can do that. We'll show you how you can have a quick, fresh start by using the default playbook, building something on your own from it. As I said, then we're gonna go to the live demo. I'm gonna jump to my Reply account. 4 sequences with custom playbooks are waiting for us to, again, talk about that, look at that, understand just better what can the use cases be around all this topic. Yeah, and then we're gonna see how the playbooks actually perform, what's the outcome of the playbook, what the message would look like, the email message, the LinkedIn message, the in-mail step, all that we will look at. Yeah, so quickly refresh what the playbooks can and cannot do. Again, the main part, the zero step would be to, again, remember that playbook is your copywriting assistant. That means it helps you to shape the content itself. It's important to mention because we sometimes see that our clients just place in the playbook instructions like, create 3 emails for me. Like they ask playbook to execute something, or they elaborate on the ICP in the playbook. I want to target chief marketing officers in the United States in financial industries. They put that in the playbook. That is why it's important to say this is only copywriting assistant. It doesn't, execute. It doesn't find leads. It does not affect the cadence of your campaign. You have created a sequence, let's say with 3 emails, and that's your sequence. You cannot change the cadence through the playbook. It only shapes the copywriting. What playbooks can do? Again, it can manage tone, style, length of the messages. It can use different variations of personalization points. You can ask Jason to find some trigger, some observation, the job change, do the compliment, do the quote, find if the prospect changed the company, or they attended some event, or something they posted. Like all these signals can be used via playbooks. You can use links. You can control the subject lines via playbook. Yeah, default one, generate messages and send a sequence until the contact responds. Again, one more tip for you and important reminder: playbook works until prospect replies. So it's a cold outreach tool, right? After the prospect replied, then we have the knowledge base that jumps in and helps you handle replies. That's the separate topic, but so you know, because again, this is something important. If you want, again, to train Jason as your AI SDR assistant to handle replies, that's not about the playbook, the knowledge base. Maybe we'll do webinar about that too later on. What playbooks cannot do? Yeah, as I already mentioned, it cannot do the research of the contacts just to find you new leads. We have the autopilot for that. It cannot affect or change the sequence structure. You already have your structure set when you build the campaign, so that's it. Choose which contacts to reach out to or ignore, right? Important, because if you have the prospect in your sequence, then you know we will reach out to that prospect because it's active your contact, so it will be reached out to, and the playbook will help to shape the messages to that prospect. When to use which? Another slide. Again, if you want to start fast and you want like a more general approach, test the cold outreach. We have the playbook for the cold outreach. We have the playbook for event. We have the couple of playbooks for re-engagement. And again, we're gonna look at that playbooks. We have the playbooks to reach out to your warm leads, like MQLs, marketing qualified leads. That's all stored in the library. You can look at the playbook, understand from the description what it does, and start testing it. It's like, an easy enter to this whole content building story. Go custom if you want something specific that you did not find in any of our default playbooks. Maybe again, you want to, again, as it says, avoid certain claims or competitors. Or let's say you have the historical, again, as I said, some winners messages that just work with your audience that we don't have in the default playbook inside our library. So that's the clear case for you to use a custom playbook. And also, guys, from time to time, I'm going to be jumping to the chat to see if you have any questions. We're going to process them. We're going to answer all you have in the chat. I'm going to be doing that after we finish with the presentation and before I jump to my reply account. Yeah, so another slide. Already have messages that work, bring them in. Just wanted to make a separate slide about that. Really important, because basically you can really use your own expertise and historical data and experience. If you've been doing the cold outreach before, as I said a couple of times, but again, it's important. You can use your experience, take it, put it into the custom playbook, maybe use some parts from our default playbook, mix it up and have it by using all our best practices that we have, coded in, and you can use your own experience for the email opener or for the LinkedIn connection request, all that. Custom keeps the library structure. When you're going to be building the custom playbook, it's important that it fits the structure that our JSON can clearly understand. So we're going to look at our default ones, and we're going to finalize with you what is the structure. So when you build your own playbook, you just change the content, like the message, but then we keep the structure same. Because for JSON, we figured it works the best way. It listens, it follows all your commands. So it's important, again, when we build the playbook, it's not just the like a story, like 20 sentences. It must be the structure. At first, we have a list of do's, what playbook should do, don'ts. We have the headline. We say first email step. We say first LinkedIn message. We don't just say, hey, playbook, for my LinkedIn follow-up, wherever it is, the first, the second, we just don't mention that. Create me some funny follow-up short message. So that's the wrong way to do that. Important to follow the structure. Where can you take the structure? Look at our default playbooks that we're going to do together. Yeah, what makes a strong playbook? You want to have do's, list of do's that are global to your playbook. We're going to look closer to that. Do's, don'ts, step rules. The rules for a specific step also reinforces the quality of the message. Examples, real examples. So we're going to look at the playbook. We're going to see first email template, and then the real example follows. This way, AI understands the best way. And of course, the testing. We must, okay, let's not say must, but I really recommend to test the playbook before you launch your campaign, so that you have the clear visibility, you understand how well it follows your guidance. So that's definitely recommended. Yeah, and now let's jump to the more interesting part of our webinar. I'm going to switch to my reply account and let's see what we have there. And as I said before, let me go to the chat and see if we have some questions at the moment. Yeah. What I'm reading the question from Will. What are the advantages over the JSON AI config options? Hi, Will. I would ask you just to elaborate a little bit, like what do you mean by config options? If you mean like what are the advantages of the custom playbook over the default playbook, maybe if that, definitely you can configure it to be more of your tone of voice if you have some specific rules that you want to mention. But let's look at the real deal, and maybe I will answer your question as we check my account. So I'll click 1, I'll click 2. I expect that you should see my reply account, and there you might see 4 playbooks. Please let me know, somebody, if this is what you can see now. 4 playbooks, my own reply account. It's okay. Yeah, okay. So what I have done. So I have created 4 campaigns. In each of these sequences, I have added people. The first library playbook sequence, it has the default playbook from our library. Other 3 sequences, they have custom playbooks that I have built for this webinar. And not only, but that interesting part I will share with you at the end of this webinar. We recommend, and this is how we do, and this is how our clients do, if you want to test your playbook, we should have a sequence that has now no conditional cadence. I'll let you know why, but basically you can create the sequence just for testing your playbook. You add your people, then in the preview you generate messages and you see how playbook works. For this to work against each of the step, we must not have conditions in our sequence. I will scroll and let's see. Email 1, email 2, third email, LinkedIn connection request, LinkedIn message, another LinkedIn message, because usually we have more than one. I've added email step, another email step, and AI voice message, right? If I don't have conditions and I have like a linear cadence, then when I go to preview and click regenerate, every single message will be generated. This is just a specific of our platform at the moment, because if you, let's say, had condition here, like so, AI only personalizes if there's condition yes branch, right? So if you have, let's say, email in no branch, I will just switch to no branch, and I click generate, so Jason will not show me the result of this email, right? Because it's under no branch. This is something that we just have at the moment, right? So to test playbook, we definitely want to have sequence that is clear from conditions. That's important. This is how I test. This is how our guys test. Again, if you want to do this all upfront, to test everything upfront. So the first sequence, I open the sequence and I go to Jason AI. Let's see together which playbook is attached to this campaign. I go to playbooks. So system is loading. The reply method v21. So that's our default playbook. Let's go to playbooks and to the library, right? So that's our library. This is our default playbook for the cold outreach. For the general outreach, it works well. It has many, best practices coded in, and I was talking about the structure. So you can see we start with the do's, list of do's. Scrolling down, 21 do's. Then we have don'ts. Again, scrolling down, we have don'ts. Then, first email step, the headline matters. Then we have do's, don'ts for this particular email. After that, we have example and the framework. right? So you want to follow exactly right here, like example one framework. Like these headlines, they help AI understand where it is in space. So you have your example and you have real example where all these variables replaced with real data that AI found on LinkedIn, on the website. So that's recommended structure of any playbook. So when you build your custom playbook, you want to follow that, right? Go back to sequence, open the sequence that has the default cold outreach playbook. First email, hi Michael, saw you're leading sales at Aider Technologies. This person works at Aider. Managing outreach across channels while keeping this personalized usually get complex. So we just, trigger them with a pain point, right? All the pain points, all the value propositions we have prepared for this playbook, so AI knows which content to use and shape with the help of the playbook. So this is default playbook. And as you can see, I scroll down, I can see what would be the second LinkedIn message because I clicked personalize before and I can see that step. I can scroll down, I can see the very last step, right? Michael, would it be helpful if you could automate reply handling and meetings scheduling without adding your team's workload? Default playbook. The custom playbooks you can create. For example, what I did is started to use signals. So the next playbook you can see, it already uses my custom playbook, the next sequence. It is called job change. What does it mean? Let me open this sequence. In our filters where we source leads, right, we have the signal, relatively new signal, changed job in last 90 days. So this is something that we know about the prospect. So in this campaign, I am reaching out to, let's see together, sales directors. Basically, let's say I am person who wants to close deals, want to sell Jason. So I'm going to go to sales directors and say, hello, Mr. or Mrs. or Miss Sales Director. As you have, changed the job, you have recently joined this company. I know that for a fact. This is what our engine does. And that can be my pitch, my angle. So let's see together a couple of examples. So this is the Chris. The first email to Chris. Chris, saw you recently joined this organization because we know he works there. As sales director, ramping your team, covering pipeline while hiring takes time, right? So we address you recently joined this company. We know that for the fact, and we want to address this pain point of Chris. Jason AI runs outbound end to end, and all that. Scrolling down on day 29, we will say, hey, Chris, you move into the role. Again, this is the LinkedIn message. So across all these messages, we have like a storytelling line that we say to the person. We like a highlight that they recently joined the organization. This sequence, powered by Playbook, let's see together, cold outreach, job change. Let's look at that playbook that I have just created today. Go back to playbooks. Then go to team where we have custom playbooks. I will click to open this cold outreach playbook, right? So again, we have our do's, the same structure. We have our don'ts. What I have here. Plain language, no jargon, do not invent numbers, no news older than 3 months. This is great. No vague marketing abstractions. In do's, what I have. Value, proposition, benefit first, things like that. So, scrolling down, the first email, example. Hi, person, saw you recently joined this company. Sounds like a busy first stretch, right? Scrolling down, I have a real example to reinforce this template here. What we have next, first email follow-up. So you're settling into the new role at this company, right? So this is my custom playbook I have built specifically for this intent. Is it intent? Let's say signal. This is the signal that person changed. If I were to use this job change signal in the filters that gives me only people, and I would to use the default cold outreach playbook, it's not tailored enough for this specific signal. It would do okay, I believe, but again, why do okay if we can do better or just the best? Because in our default playbook, it will say something more general. So again, I will go back to our first sequence with default playbook. Let's compare, okay? Again, so you're leading sales at Ader. Let's switch to James, another prospect. So your organization managing outreach across multiple channels, some follow-up. Hey, James, struggling to personalize outreach at scale. Again, we address the problem. So that's basically how it's done. So again, to recap, and then I'm going to pause for a couple of questions. If you will have any, I will look into the chat. We can build custom playbooks based on different signals. So I have selected this job change signal. We can do any other signals. We have recently added past company. So there's, a couple of outreach techniques when you can reach out to a person that just left that organization. Maybe you worked with this person in the previous organization and they used your product or service or consultations. And you can reach out to the same person, find them in the new company and say, hey, we have been having really nice days when you work there, working here. Are you interested in our product? We know each other. We can build something great fast because, again, we have this all figured out before. Years in company, right? So I will show that in other playbook. So this is, again, was my own thought process. How can I reach out to people with this signal? I build the playbook with the structure that follows our default playbooks and it does its job. Let's click on Michael here and let's see what we have. Michael, since you just stepped into the role at Ader, hitting pipeline targets before your team fully ramps is probably top of mind. Yeah, so I can see how we address that he recently joined the organization. InMail, let's open InMail. Hey, Michael, settling into the role of at Ader Technologies. Sounds like a full first quarter. I'm guessing you hit in blah, 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 things like that. Let me go to the chat. Do we have some questions in the chat so far? Okay. So Will asked before about the proof points, ICP pain points. And what are the advantages of these inputs? I will reply to Will because it's really important. Let's open the sequence. So Will asked, what are the advantages of pain points, value props, and all this, how we call them generation inputs. Without these unique inputs, AI will create really general and not necessarily relative content for your prospects. Because when we target, let's say, sales directors, we do want to have here listed pain points that sales directors have. It's really important because that content AI will use in the messages. It will, again, understand what to talk about, value propositions. Again, idea is to write down, or Jason will do that for you, the most relevant value props and proof points for the audience you target. If you have 5 pain points, but they fit well for sales managers and you target sales directors, then it will not fit. let's imagine I'm sales director, so I'm like handling the team of SDRs. And if you tell me the pain point that is not, again, my pain point, if you list it here, then I will just ignore probably your message and then just move on with my day. Probably answer your question, Will, let me know that. Jeff, question from Jeff. What use cases do you use particular provided playbooks for? Yeah, so we are looking at use cases now. The custom playbooks for the job change, or we have, which leads me to another sequence that I have built for you guys, website visitors. As you may know or may not, and now you will, that we have the feature called website visitors. Basically, you can create a code, put it on your website, and it will capture all visitors of your website. That's another insight. We know that that person landed on the website. At least they know our domain. They might know what we do. They, for some reason, were searching something about us. That's another, use case. I will open that sequence. I will go to JSON and let's see which playbook is connected to that sequence. So it's loading on my side. It's done. Website visitors. That's another custom playbook. Let's quickly look at this playbook in our library. Here it is. What do we have? Open every first touch, value message by naming the question they were settling about the category. So this playbook was built by my fellow Dasha. So she created this playbook to address again this signal that the person landed. We specifically do not, again, address the elephant in the room. We don't say in this playbook, hey, I know that you landed on my website, because it's like it's cheesy, it's too cheesy. But we just know that we're aware of this fact, and based on this intent, we built our cold outreach playbook. Don't send same copy across email and LinkedIn. Some of the don'ts: don't manufacture urgency, don't open with the self-introduction, I wanted to reach out to, my name is, so that's like old news. What do we have in do's? One idea per message, a single takeaway per touch. Scrolling down to see a couple of messages. Templates, hi first name, quick thing on, and then we have this placeholder. Scrolling down to real example. Hi Marco, quick thing on AI SDR, since it keeps coming up. Custom playbook, going back to the sequence, let's look at some of the messages that are built based on this playbook. Open the sequence. And again, I have added people to all of the playbooks. This is real people. I've just sourced them from, Autopilot. Fresh people from Sales Navigator. Edit in real time. I go to preview. Okay, I have 3 personalized persons. Click on Aaron. Maybe James. Hi, James. Most sales directors, because he is the sales director, juggling outreach across multiple channels, wrestle with the same thing. How to personalize at scale without your team drowning in admin work, right? Scrolling down again, because this playbook doesn't have any conditions. When I click generate, let me do it right now. You can see we don't have any messages yet. So I'm just going to go to preview, click personalize. So now Jason is building the message based on my playbook and based on our inputs in the sequence. Usually takes a couple of minutes, and we will see all the messages created based on, again, all these assets that we have linked to our campaign. So that's another use case, how to use this engine, how to build your custom playbook, what can be the use case. Then, years in company. That's the fourth custom playbook. From the name of this playbook, you can assume that I have used another signal that we have, and we have recently added, again, not so much time ago, years in company. Let's again talk what is this signal. Sequence is opened. I will go to edit filters. Let me scroll down. So, years in current company. I have decided to build this campaign around 1 to 2 years. I did the research. I talked to my own Claude, where I'm building this customer success brain. It has many skills, so I've just consulted, did the research. It told me that the sweet spot for the cold outreach you can start with, it can be 1 to 2 years. Of course, there are many cases where you want to reach out to people who are more than 10 years in the company. It depends on the industry where you operate, the job titles that you want to reach out to. But in my case, I decided to use that signal. So we have built a custom sequence specifically around this signal. Going back to playbooks and our okay, yeah, that's even more interesting. I have not yet built this custom playbook because that we can do together. So I have it on a side. I have the complete text for this playbook, and let's build it together and let's link it to our sequence. That was my original idea. So yeah, I'm gonna click new playbook. Let's call it 1 to year. No, that's Ukrainian year. Second. Now we're talking years in company. Description. That's my description. Create. So we're now building the custom playbook. You can see that it already recommends you with the structure. We've been talking about the structure. So if you like, you can just fill in the examples. But what I will do, I will just erase all that. And again, I have already prepared my custom playbook specifically for this goal. I have just pasted it here. So let's read together. This playbook targets prospects who have been at their current company for 1 to 2 years. Again, do's, don'ts. First step, email, all that. Let's save this playbook. Now I have it. Let's see how it will work. Going back to my sequences, and I will open this sequence and I will link my custom playbook to this sequence. That would be my step 1 here. Going to JSON, like so, right? Then I will select this playbook. Library, all default playbooks, team, custom ones. Here it is. I select this playbook, save settings. It is now saved. Because of, again, I have the linear cadence, I will be able to preview all the steps of this outreach campaign. Okay, so I've added really a lot of people. Let's select a few of them. Let's select Lau here. And who else? Team, I'm looking into. Okay, let's do Brooke. I have selected 2 people. I click personalize. You can see it's running. So what is happening now? AI is, some of you already might have done this many times. AI, based on my custom playbook, 1 to 2 years in company, based on inputs that I have in this campaign, it creates the messages for me. Again, we will leave it for a couple of minutes. We will go back and we can see the outcome. So again, my expectation would be that AI will take this example and replace all these placeholders with real values, and we will see our messages. Let's see what we have in this playbook. Hi, person. So you've been leading sales at this company for a year or two now. Okay. So as you can see, this part is not like in the placeholders like this. It's hard-coded, meaning it will not change. I want this part of the text to be static because I'm using my signal. I want to address that this person works this many years in this company. So you can see we have PS in square brackets, which will end up in something personalized. Liked your point on hiring for slope over experience. Again, you can see this is the long playbook. It has, again, instructions for second email follow-up. Let's see. First name, since you've run sales at company for 1 or 2 years, I figured scaling outbound past what manual allows might be a current focus. Okay, so again, sky is your limit. You can, again, test different approaches with text. So my approach is address the signal. I try to wear the shoes of this person who has been for 1-2 years in the company as sales leader. Probably they in the position of scaling. If you want to test the different theory approach, maybe again something that has been working for you, you can just change this message, save it, and then it will do the job. What I have then, LinkedIn Connect message example, first LinkedIn message. You can see critical. If you want again to be super precise, you can type critical and then have your do. We see that also helps. Okay, let's go back to our sequence and let's see if it already personalized. Yes, it did. Leo, the person, the sales director that works at doortech.com. Let's read the message. Leo, so you've been leading sales at Doortech Hygienic Doors for a year or two now. Okay. As the motion scales, how are you handling personalized outreach across channels without burning out your team? Jason AI runs your entire outreach, writes personalized messages, handles replies, schedules meetings. Basically extra SDR capacity without the headcount. Okay, that's basically my pitch, which I am using in this campaign. What we see in the first email follow-up or second email. Hi, Leo. A couple of years into building the motion at this company, the next stretch is usually about scale, not setup. Yeah, so yeah, the person, I like that. The person who has been working for a couple of years now, they are not just, settling in. They're not just only building their processes. They already in a position of scale. Okay, like it. With that in mind, a note on doing it without linear hiring felt timely. Quick refresher, Jason AI brings real-time data, multi-channel sequences, all that. So again, this is the structure. We talk something that is relevant about them. I know they call it the concept, show me that you know me, the cold outreach concept, where we start with something relevant about our prospect. This is our icebreaker. Of course, then with AI taking over the cold outreach in the world, prospects, they start understanding when AI does the job and send the message. That is why we're constantly evolving in terms of how we present ourselves in front of the person. That is why, we had the reply method, then we have reply method version 2, then we evolved to reply method version 2.1 playbooks, because again, the message that worked 2 years ago will be not the best way to reach out to your prospects today. So that's again just one of the ways. Years in company. So that's pretty much like 4 campaigns that I have built. So we have looked at together. There can be much more use cases where you can use custom playbooks. Let's, for example, look at our library so we can get inspired by it. Many of our clients, again, use the pain point based playbook. Or we also have selling through free services, lead magnet. If your like work operates in a way where you can like offer something for free for some particular time, 2 weeks, I don't know, something like this, you can use that. Free audit. Some organizations use that. But again, let's say invite to event, right? So cute playbook when you want to invite people to the event. But let's say you have looked at this playbook, you're not 100% sure you want to use all that. So I'm just going to copy this playbook because I cannot change our default ones. Copy, go to new playbook, event 1, I don't know, September Web Summit. This is the big event. Div. I will just read that. And here, okay, I just want, okay, this is the playbook that already, it shows me that some of the things I can already adapt. So some of the, placeholders should be improved when I want to build my custom playbook. You can, again, go to do's and don'ts, change something, be funny. Having trouble with this word. Okay, like this. So like so. And then, of course, don't save this playbook. If I scroll down, let me go to library. Inbound lead magnets. So a couple of relatively new playbooks that we have added. Inbound webinar, inbound free started playbook. So this is, again, a couple of other like ways how you can get inspired and think of a new use case. Look at playbooks that we have. Re-engaged, close lost deals. If you have some list of lost deals in your CRM, just integrate, if you haven't done this before, with Jason. Pull those leads from your CRM to reply, add them to the sequence, and you can use our playbook to reach out to people, or right, you can build your own playbook, but just mind the structure. This is really important. And of course, test it. So again, how to build the playbook without conditions. This is what I have started with, but did not show you that. So maybe to somebody it will help. So let's say I want to have one like a test playbook. Go to Jason AI. Let's do reply.io. Start selling. So what I'm going to do, I will just create this sequence and I will switch off conditions on this very first step. When it is created, I will just slightly polish the cadence. So I have at least 3 steps for the email, couple of steps for the LinkedIn. So let me show you that. no conditions, right? If this is the playbook test 007. Okay, let me have email, let me have LinkedIn, email, LinkedIn AI voice message, which, by the way, have improved now when you have a step with LinkedIn AI voice message. You can add a background noise. So maybe I'll show you that again, not of the topic of this session, but why not? So I click next. So building this campaign. So that's the most important part here. Switch off conditions, select your own steps that you will have, maybe only emails, right? So we have our linear cadence. Let's see, I have one email, AI voice message, I have two emails. Not enough, because in my playbook, I will have at least 3 emails and more LinkedIn messages. Click plus, add LinkedIn message, save. So that later I can see how AI will handle my LinkedIn message. Click plus, add another email. If I want to send 2 emails to my prospect, I want to have 2 emails in my cadence. I'll just change that just so it feels nicer, right? So that's your test playbook. Save. Then I can decide what's my outreach tactics. Maybe I want to use the signal employee headcount growth. What does it mean? If the company grew from 5% to, let's say, I don't know, 15%, and I can use this kind of angle, high person, given that your company growing, you can like think of many ways how to shape that signal into your pitch, your outreach approach, and use that. Past company, we covered another signal. Years in company, we covered today. Changed jump it in last 90 days. All that works. Let me actually go back to the job change sequence, and let's see if I do have AI voice message here. Yeah, AI voice message here. I will go to the preview. I will select a random person and go all the way to that AI voice message. Okay, like this. If you did not see that, that's here. First, enhance. I click that. I did that. And here you can see thoughtful sites, a site, excited, short pause. All that helps to build better AI voice message. Background noise. Street with car horns. I will not run this now, not the purpose of our webinar, but something interesting and recent that we have improved. So you can use that. No, I don't want to save that. Let me now go back to our chat and see what is going on in the chat. Reading messages. So Will, generation inputs versus playbooks. Okay. So Will, playbook is like your, skeleton, your structure. And generation inputs, it is what playbook will use in the content. So let me show that. Again, I can show that on the default, for example. So we have these pain points, which are all our generation inputs. In the playbook, we have placeholders for pain points, right? Go into the playbook. Let me scroll down to find it somewhere in the structure. Okay, so the value proposition, right? So we want to have the value propositions in our sequence as the inputs, but then we will use them in our playbook like so. You can see this square brackets means it's our placeholder or variable which will be used by Playbook. Let's find something else. First email follow-up. Okay, 1, 2 observations, reference. Okay, again, short value propositions. So which value proposition will be placed into this spot? One of value propositions that you have in your inputs. One of these. Again, it will not do, the whole sentence, but AI will adapt to your playbook. So hopefully I have answered your question, Will. Again, you can think of generation inputs as your content which is specific to your sequence. Generation inputs recommended to be relevant to the audience you target. For example, teacher, cashier. If I do that, AI will create message for the teachers and they will say, "Hi teacher, you probably struggle to maintain consistent engagement with prospects across multiple channels." They will not understand what is it about because the pain points are not relevant to this job title. So we want to be really mindful about that. All our generation inputs must match our audience who we target. If we do need to target sales directors and cashiers, we want to do that in the separate campaigns, right? So let's say we have this campaign for sales directors. Right? So I will just duplicate the sequence if everything else works well. And in my copy, I will do cashiers. But now I will not run this campaign. If I, again, want to have the same structure, I'm happy with the structure. I don't want to do this from the beginning. I did the clone of the sequence. Now I do want to remove all the sales directors, only have cashiers, not like this. Okay. So that's step one. But step two would be to adjust all the generation inputs specifically for this job title. Only after that, it makes sense to run the campaign. I can see, Will, you reply, got it, thanks. Yeah. We have 1 minute left. And the really, really good news for you. We will share with anyone who will like that our custom playbooks for specific use cases which we have covered today. 1-2 years in company, that's 1. Website visitors, that's 2. Job change in 90 days, that's 3. At least these 3 campaign playbooks, we will be happy to share with you. Just click plus here in the chat so we know who would like to get that. If you will see these as a recording, you were not able to attend the meeting, the webinar, send us message in Slack if we connected in Slack. Send message to the support team and ask for the custom playbooks. Send email to me or to your customer success manager if that's not me, and we'll do that. Make sure to test your own playbooks in the linear sequence, and then your custom playbooks will be unique, hopefully, and this is what we see. If it's done right, it will give you more leads and more deals. With that, it's pretty much everything that I wanted to cover today. Okay, I see plus from John, from Benas, from person DL. Thank you so much that you would like to get the playbook. We'll reach out to you. Even we can just land the playbook in your account. So you can just open your account and you will see the playbook there. Thank you everyone for your time, for your questions. Hopefully this helped. Hopefully this will unlock this topic if it was new for you about the playbooks. Start testing them. Think of all the ideas and recommend to implement them. Talk to your customer success manager. If you have some ideas, let's work on this together, because personalization, uniqueness, this is what drives sales, closes deals. Thank you so much, guys. Hopefully see you next time. We're going to have more of these webinars, different topics. Have a good one and goodbye.